let's start with you, because Congressman Comer is saying subpoenas on the table if the White House doesn't provide information that he asked for. And I have I have thoughts about what he said in that clip. But Comer himself voted against impeaching Donald Trump for obstruction of Congress and not complying with the subpoenas. Now he wants people to comply with the subpoenas. How is this really going to work out for Republicans, given how they just acted in the 117th Congress?
Yeah, the faux outrage here is just ironic. And I mean, now if we look at what's going to happen with the debt ceiling fight, you know, if they wanted Democrats to come to the table to negotiate with them, which, mind you, they only have a majority in the House, but if they actually wanted that, maybe they should have started being able to negotiate with one another. Maybe they would have been taken seriously. But this, again, right here just shows that it's a GOP clown car. I mean, the things that they are saying on Talk News this whole weekend has been 100% focused on how Joe Biden is just unethical, and I can't believe this, and the mistreatment by the mainstream media. Where was the outrage when Donald Trump did this? And it was actual documents that could have harmed foreign and national security efforts. So, I mean, come on.
Like, I mean, even more than that, I mean, he took them and said they were his.
There's also
they
that.
were not his. Tara, you recently wrote a piece in Puck News about the special counsel who is investigating the President Biden, Robert Hur's fear factor. That's what you call it. You spoke to former colleagues of his. Tell us a little bit about what you heard.
Well, the thing about Robert Hur is he is actually really respected across the aisle from Democrats and Republicans. He has credibility with Republicans, having worked for Chris Wray, Rod Rosenstein, although Republicans will also say he worked for James Comey essentially as well. So those are some knocks on him. But the one thing that I took away from my conversations with people who have worked for him is that he is tough as nails. And he's not the kind of person you want to be on the other side of the table with. One of the colleagues recalled a time in a deposition where the person forgot their story by the end of the deposition, a witness. He's just really a really, really tough litigator. And I think, the White House should be concerned, but I also think at the same time, if you want to attack his integrity, you might have a hard time because he has allies on both sides of the aisle, and a lot of Republicans will vouch for him.
Yeah, and I think that the reality is Democrats are not attacking the special counsel. Congresswoman Jayapal today said, yes, I think he should be here investigating. Yesterday, I spoke to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She said the same thing. Amisha, though, I think, though, that the White House is doing what they're supposed to do, cooperating. We're hearing from Democratic legislators about the importance of the special counsel. But I think that the Democratic apparatus, the outside, the political arms, if you will, should be doing more to rally to the president's side here. If we were talking about Donald Trump, and we don't have to wonder, this happened to him a couple months ago, okay? The Republicans rallied to his side. I feel like there's a lot of mealy-mouthed Democrats out there saying, I don't really know what's going on.
I agree with you 100%. There is a frustration that is very rightful here because there are Democratic spokespeople and there are Democratic organizations who've been very quiet here, trying to see how this plays out. They saw that more documents came. I think that there's a fear among them that they don't want to go too far and more be revealed. But this goes to show the extreme differences between Democrats and Republicans, because as you pointed out, when the raid happened on Mar-a-Lago, Republicans went hard in the paint. That's not what's happening here. And this is a much more succinct case, one that doesn't involve nefarious acts.
Yes.
And I think that there should be more of a vocal outrage here. There should also be more of an interest in, quite frankly, pointing to the facts. And we're not necessarily seeing that. And part of that, I think, is because there are slim margins in both the House and the Senate. For Democrats in the Senate, they're also trying to, increase their House seats in the future. I think that there's a fear that they don't want to go too far, and that is misplaced.
All right. Well, I mean, look, the facts are important here. The facts are going to bore out, but I also think the nuance is key. I want to move to the debt ceiling battle because this is coming up in earnest this week. The Washington Post is citing 4 people familiar with the matter that House Republicans are working toward what they're calling a contingency plan if the Treasury does hit its limit. Now, this proposal it calls on the Biden administration to continue making payments on a few things like debt interest, Social Security, Medicare, veterans benefits, and defense funding. But this same report notes that this would leave out vital expenses like Medicaid, food safety inspections, border control, air traffic control, and thousands of other programs. Tara, what are you hearing on this? And then, Ashley, a quick follow-up to you because it seems like this could backfire.
Right. This is something that was discussed in 2011 when there was a debt ceiling fight, and the U.S. ended up defaulting, and its credit rating was lowered. This idea of cherry picking programs, it doesn't really work because the money's already been spent. So you essentially need to pay for money that's already been spent. Right. That's part of it. And I just think that it's a political landmine. I mean, if you're going after funds for the FAA. I mean, when people can't fly, when people can't get in transit, Medicaid, there's going to be horror stories. I think it's actually a political landmine for Republicans if they're going to pick and choose. I don't think they should handle it that way. But you can tell that there is some softness there, and maybe there is some room to negotiate if they're already thinking of ways to get out of this fight.
Maybe so. Ashley?
Yeah, but then you've got things like border control that won't be on there, but yet they're making hay over that. So, again, their priorities don't seem to align at all. What they're telling the American people is we're going to get tough on the border, we're going to get our fiscal house in order, and now they're trying to have some sort of showdown here to show that somehow they think they're fiscally responsible when they have no platform that says that. They have been the platform and ego of Donald Trump for gosh knows how long at this point, and they haven't actually done anything policy related. And we saw this, again, fight in the House over the speakership, and that's what they've portrayed to the American people. So again, why are we going to take Republicans seriously on this when they say one thing and then do another?
This begs the question, this is coming up potentially this week, January 19th. Misha, what are you going to be watching for in Washington this week? Is it the debt ceiling limit? What are you watching for?
The debt ceiling and these ongoing conversations around the thing that cost the Republicans the midterms, women's reproductive rights. We're seeing them go harder and harder every day on trying to eradicate women's reproductive rights across the country, despite the fact that they lost sizable electoral results just a couple months ago. So I think that they have not learned their lesson. They're also very willing to basically fall into the trap of the Freedom Caucus. They believe that this caucus, for the most part, we saw them flex their muscle.
I mean, they had a lot of power. Now, I'm going to add the Freedom Caucus to that. I'm going to be watching Puck News and seeing what they dropping, honey, because Tara always got a scoop every now and then out here in the street. Tara Palmieri, Amisha Cross, Ashley Pratte Oates, thank you all very, very much.